Hey everybody, welcome to the Xano fall launch event. I cannot tell you how excited I have been for today. Today marks a huge moment in the history of Xano and honestly, in my opinion, the history of software development. We all know why we're here. Today is the day that we are unveiling Xano 2.0, and this is so much more than a feature release. This is a complete redefinition of what Xano is and what backend development can be. As you all know, we're all living in an incredible moment in time right now where AI has collapsed software timelines faster than we've ever seen. What used to take developers months now happens in days, even minutes, as you're going to see today. And that all sounds great on the surface, but I know, and you know, it's created a new kind of pressure that I'm sure many of you are feeling right now. You want to move at AI speed, but you also need to protect what matters most: security, reliability, transparency, and most importantly, control. And that is what today is all about, showing you how Xano is rising to meet this moment in time. Today, we're going to show you how Xano 2.0 brings together AI, visual development, and code all in one place. You'll see how teams are building faster than ever without losing sight of what's happening under the hood. So to kick things off, please welcome our co-founder and CEO, Prakash Chandran.
Thank you so much, Brandon. I am so excited to be here with everyone, and I cannot tell you how hard we've been working on this latest release. It's been over a year in the making, and it represents really the biggest leap forward in Xano's history, and it couldn't have come, frankly, at a better time. I think there needs to be a recognition on the world today that software just fundamentally gets built differently. AI and vibe coding tools have transformed expectations, and things that used to take months or weeks can happen in minutes. But there is a problem. Most of what's out there today trades speed for control. So you get the quick results, which is great for prototyping, but you start to lose visibility into how things actually work. And when you're building something really important, what initially felt fast ends up slowing you down when you try to take it live or to production. At Xano, we've always believed that you shouldn't have to make that trade-off. You should be able to move at the speed of AI and have production grade reliability all at the same time. That's exactly what Xano 2.0 delivers and offers. With this release, we're introducing 3 core ways to build that all stay perfectly in sync. First, building with AI. So we're introducing a logic assistant that is a perfect complement to our database assistant. It lets you describe exactly what you want in natural language and instantly generate your backend business logic. Second, you can build visually. We're introducing a brand new visual canvas, which is a node-based view that lets you design visually and validate your logic at a glance. We believe that when you're building something impactful, it probably means that you're collaborating with other engineers, with product managers, and non-technical teammates. Now, all of you can visualize and see how your backend works visually step by step. Finally, building with code. For pro developers who want full control, we're introducing the highly anticipated XanoScript. XanoScript is a human and AI readable scripting language that defines every part of your backend. Not just the business logic, but your functions, your middleware, your database, your unit tests, your MCP servers, and more. This is a huge step forward for backend development. And because it's purpose-built to be visualized, every change you make in XanoScript is instantly and bidirectionally synced visually. No compile step, no translation layer step required. So in Xano 2.0, you can build with the speed of AI, validate visually, and get the precision of code when you need it. To demonstrate all of this, I wanted to call on Cameron Booth from our digital marketing team. But I wanted to do something a bit different and have him start actually in an IDE. See, the cool thing about XanoScript is it enables you to build in your IDE of choice, whether that be VS Code or Cursor. They all work seamlessly through our extension. And Cam is going to demonstrate that using a real-world scenario. So Cam, I'll let you take it away.
Thanks, Prakash. Yeah, I'm super excited to be able to go over what we've been building and what that allows everybody else to build as well. And what that is something super exciting because it's Xano outside of Xano. And that's what we see here on the screen. I have an IDE open. I have VS Code. And on the left, I have the extension. This is our XanoScript extension, and it is what keeps everything in sync and bridges that gap between our instance, the Xano platform, and our IDE, our code editor. So I've already logged in and I've already created that link between my instance and workspace. So the only thing really preventing me now from building a backend is the prompt. And now before we begin, what are we actually building? And that's this. We're going to be building, well, not this, we're going to be building a backend service for pet adoptions. It's going to be a service that allows you to like the pets, as well as, of course, be able to see all of this and, well, start the adoption process. Now, this backend, of course, is going to complete the entire adoption process, and we're going to do it inside VS Code. Now, before we actually start, I do want to just hop into the actual workspace that we're dealing with, and it's empty. We only have the users table. So let's go ahead and begin. So as we get started, the prompt, I'm going to go ahead and place it in here. It's going to be pretty simple, and I'm going to say, let's just go ahead and build the tables and the functions. I'm just saying we need these entities. So for pets, adopters, staff, role-based access, we have a like and favorites, kind of operation where users can like and favorite their animals, authenticated users, an entire adoption workflow. And we're going to go ahead and just press send, and it'll go ahead and start building for us.
So just to clarify, Cam, this prompt is going to have VS Code build out everything inside Xano, like tables, APIs, logic.
Yeah, actually everything. Yeah, exactly. It's going to create, well, in this case, the tables, the functions, the APIs, the MCP servers, the AI, literally everything.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That is, man, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So anything that you'd been, building previously inside Xano with all of those clicks, it's now going to be here in your IDE.
With all the code.
Yeah, with code. So what's happening here is we're creating all of our tables. On the left-hand side, while we have our extension, you can see that the changed files, these are all of the files that are going to be changed or have been changed. Good for organization, that kind of thing, making sure we're on top of it and know what's happening. And then we can also see the actual changes, our files. So this is the Xano script, and this is our pets table. We have our ID, our name, our species, breed, age, gender, and then we also have the indexes. What I love about this is that it creates the system based on best practices. And it's not just necessarily that we're vibe coding, that we're creating an application with whichever framework. And, when we get there, we get there. This is Xano. This is tried and true. It's scalable. It's secure. And it's a framework that's going to ensure that you and your users, well, can enjoy whichever application you're launching. Do list. So add relationship to tables, and then we're going to start building those functions. So likes, favorites, the adoption workflow, notifications, input validation.
So Cameron, I think it's important to note here that this is building everything for you, right?
Yeah. So over in the Explorer, you actually get to see the Explorer. What is the Explorer here? This is going to be where all of our files exist. So all of our triggers, all of our tables, all of our middlewares, MCPs, functions, everything that is in Xano is going to live in this file structure. Awesome. And we can see it actually solve these problems real time. We saw that this had errored out, and now there is no error. So it's awesome to be able to see all of this happening and it fixing itself.
That part is nice. Not being forced to use Xano's interface to resolve any issues. You can stay inside your IDE, have it fix those issues, and then all the fixes are synced to Xano.
Exactly. Yeah. And great. So now, yep, it's created these tables, and it's saying that it's also done some functions, which is, of course, what we're seeing. So we have some tables and some functions, and it says, well, what next? Of course, we can continue to build it. What I'd like to be able to show is that what next part. So let's hop back into Xano. Inside Xano, I'm going to go to my functions here. And this is where everything will, of course, sync. This is what we see in our IDE. This is now what we see in the platform. So let's go to our notification here. This is a notification for an adoption event. If we open it up, this is our visual editor. This is the canvas view that allows us to see very easily what's happening. It's still a lot that's happening. And, well, what really is happening? If you're a visualizer, perfect. You might have a good idea, but even then, you can go to the bottom right and enhance these descriptions. So all descriptions here for us, we're going to go ahead and enhance them.
Yeah, I love this feature. You basically describe your business logic in a click.
Yeah, exactly. And once it's, of course, annotated everything and applied these descriptions, we can zoom in and actually see step for step what's happening. So fetching the adoption application, verifying the application, extracting the unique identifier, and so on. And then we get to these switch cases for submitted, approved, rejected. And this is what I love, is that we have the ability to see very easily what's happening in our application that we just built with AI. Then we can go to our stack. This is our traditional view. We get to see the logic in its sequential order. Inside Xanoscript, this is, of course, what we just saw within VS Code. We can make changes here if we so choose. And what's even cooler, personally, is that we get to see it in a split view. So check this out. We get to see the code and the visual editor right next to each other. So let's imagine very quickly that our client says, hey, let's change, maybe it's we don't have submitted, approved, rejected anymore. We also have pending in this switch case. So very easily, I can just take what exists here or edit it within the visual editor either way, and I can just change it. So anything that says rejected, I'll just say is pending. And then I'll go ahead and click save. And then after I've clicked save, it's here. So assign the specific message for a pending application. And yeah, in sync.
What's cool is you're updating the Xanoscript and it's updating the canvas at the same time.
Oh yeah, totally. And it's the side-by-side aspect, right? It's very cool. And what's also very cool side-by-side is when you go to review and publish, we actually have a diff that shows you all of the changes, all of the additions, everything that's happened within this particular editing session. And we get to say publish. And so now that's live.
So Cam, real quick, let's say even after I have AI write all the descriptions for all the steps, I'm still having a hard time figuring out what exactly, this function actually does. Is this something that the function assistant would be able to help me with?
Yeah, so the logic assistant. Now we can open this up and, good point for mentioning that, we have the descriptions, but what if we want something else? And that's our logic assistant, where we can explain what is happening in this particular function, or we can go ahead and get suggestions to improve. We can also build, and I'd love to show you that. So let's go ahead and create a new function. Let's go ahead to our functions and let's go to pets, and I'm going to add a function, and this is going to be our pet search function. I'm just going to say it searches pets. And let's go ahead and click save. Now, we had seen the schema that was actually created, so we know what is able to be searched, including the species and the age. So let's go ahead and make sure that that's the case. So we'll open up our logic assistant and we'll go ahead and say, I want to search all pets by particular gender, age, and species. Let the user search and see the results. And I want to say, keep it simple. I'll just say, keep it simple, right? And then we'll go ahead and click send. And now it'll build for us. And awesome. So it develops it for us. It's created this. So we can go ahead and pass in the gender, the age, the species, and then query our data. But the problem is we need data first. So we should probably go back into VS Code and ask for data. Can we add realistic data to the application? Okay, perfect. So it's going to start, auto creating all of this data for us. What's that look like inside Xano? We can see here that, we have some records. These are our pets. We have dogs, cats, rabbits, even a bird. And, this is what we'll go ahead and use to perform our test search. So let's go back to our logic and we'll go ahead and click run. I am going to be looking for a boy cat. I want him to be 2 and let's go or 3 or younger. Ideally, let's go ahead and run it. And we see Luna. So that's awesome. This means that it's working. We'll go ahead and review and publish, and we'll publish it. Cool, and now it's published. But I want to take it a little further. While we've created code in our IDE and even created this function in our app using the logic assistant, we still can take it outside of Xano once more. And so what we're going to do is actually show this data within ChatGPT, because very recently OpenAI released the ability to create applications for ChatGPT. It uses an MCP server, and that's what we're good at. So why not take what we have here, this data, this search, and use it within a ChatGPT app? So I've actually already done that. I'm going to ask for, find me a boy cat who is 3 years old or younger. And I'll say, my cat needs a friend. So let's go ahead and make sure that our logic is actually set up for these more broad kind of approaches. I'm going to go back inside Xano. And what I'm going to do is just quickly check visually. I'm looking for where my age equals my input age. But what's cool about this is if I wanted to do it via AI, I wanted to do it myself, all I need to do is say less than or equal to. So I'll go ahead and click done. I'll click review and publish. And now inside ChatGPT, I'll be able to go ahead and make sure that this logic aligns and I can finally find the best furry friend for my cat. Cool. So male, type cat, age 3. Yep. Let's go ahead and send it through. And do we have the ability to see cats of this gender, of this age? And Luna. Perfect. So Luna here, we get to see this is a UI that we've created and that we're hosting in our MCP, this tool as well from our MCP. Big Fluff, Calm Eyes, seems to have a watcher of the window vibe. Perfect. I think this cat and my cat will get along.
You've actually made your product available inside ChatGPT.
Yeah, all in under 10 minutes from the IDE, from prompting to then going inside the actual platform and making modifications.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
Super awesome.
Thank you so much, Cam. So what you just saw is a glimpse of what's next. Xano 2.0 brings together AI, visual, and code all in sync so you can build at the speed of AI without losing control. And it was pretty impressive. Cam went from an idea to a backend to a working ChatGPT app, all pretty fast in a couple minutes. But we wanted to take it even further. So you've always been able to build pretty incredible, complex, and scalable things within Xano, but starting today, you'll be able to launch them as well. To show you what I mean, I'll pass it back to Cam.
Thanks, Prakash. And yeah, things have been moving fast, whether it's AI or even just our development here, whether it's in the IDE or in the platform, we can build pretty fast. And we're so good at building fast and doing it consistently where as a platform, we ensure that you and your users always have access to your data. We said, well, why do we just stop there? We have an extension. We have VS Code. Why don't we also allow our users to host their front-end files? So now inside Xano, you can do that. HTML, CSS, JavaScript, your React apps, everything can be in one place. And that's Xano. So here in VS Code, what you're looking at is a directory, my static. I have a source folder. I have my index.html. And this here is going to be what we're going to interact with in just a second. But what makes this particularly special is that I just asked Claude to build me a page that works with everything here. Everything that we have in our directory or in our Xano application. All the custom functions, the APIs, it knows the schema, the specs, etc. So what does that look like actually inside Xano? Well, if we head to Xano, we're going to go to our library tab and we're going to go to our static hosting. Where inside our static hosting, you'll see this default card. I've been testing quite a bit. We'll open it up and this is our site. These are all of the versions of our site as well. And I can click on any of them and I can deploy to prod or deploy to dev. But what's it look like when I click on either of these links? Well, this is what it looks like when we click on either of these links. This is data from Xano being served from Xano, and we're getting to use it. From just a thought to the IDE to, the ChatGPT application to now this web application, things are very fast. Absolutely. Now, we want to make sure it works, of course. This is cool. We're querying our data and we get to see, we get to interact with it. Well, it's only powerful if it works, right? So let's go ahead and give Buddy here a like. And I've given Buddy a like. And what I've just done, if I head to my database and my likes, I'll see that Buddy, well, he has a new like. So now everything all within Xano, the same security, the same scalability, the same production ready backend that you know. But now Xano 2.0, where it's the backend and the front end together.
Cameron, as always, you have outdone yourself, man. Nice work. This is incredible. My mind's blown. So everything that we have just witnessed was built and deployed live. AI built the backend, Xano visualized and validated it, ChatGPT connected to it, and now the front end is running fully hosted on Xano. I said at the very beginning of today's event that Xano 2.0 is so much more than a release, and now you can see why. Xano 2.0 unifies every part of the development process into one transparent, production-grade platform. No black boxes, no tool sprawl, just speed, control, and trust all in one place. Now, before we wrap up, let's take a moment to recap what we have unveiled. Today, we have shown you how you can write in code with XanoScript, which is our new scripting language that keeps your backend logic perfectly in sync across code and visual views. We showed you how you can build with AI using the Logic Assistant. That allows you to describe exactly what you want, and Xano instantly generates backend logic that you can validate and edit visually. That's massive. And you can also now develop in your IDE with the new VS Code extension. This allows pro developers to work in their favorite tools and collaborate seamlessly. And finally, we showed you how you can now host your front end directly on Xano with the new static front end hosting feature. This turns Xano into a true full stack platform. So, a lot of exciting announcements. Prakash, I feel like I'm missing something. Are we missing anything here?
Well, you're not missing anything. Those are just the features that we had time to cover today. But also included with this release, we're giving away free AI credits to make it even easier to experiment and build new AI agents in Xano, a starter template giving every new user a complete pre-built backend that they can explore and extend instantly, and finally, a Git sync integration so your work in Xano connects directly to GitHub or GitLab, keeping every change versioned, auditable, and safe. This is just the start of a series of improvements we're making to help Xano adapt to the way that you work, whether that be in Xano or building on Xano from another tool. So soon you're going to be able to generate a workspace SDK, giving you a fully typed production-ready library for your APIs in seconds. We'll even be showing you how to go from prototype to production for those of you that want to take your vibe-coded app and make it more secure and scalable. I am incredibly excited about the future and believe that the way we build shouldn't be about choosing between speed and trust. You should have both. And with Xano 2.0, you can. We're the first backend that is truly built for the AI era, fast, secure, and completely within your control. Thank you all so much for being a part of this incredible moment. I cannot wait to see what you build next. Brandon, back to you.
All right. So hopefully everybody in the chat saw that we are collecting questions. We had a little pinned comment there. While we are gathering some of those questions, I did have one for you, Prakash, and thanks for obviously being here. So I've been a longtime user before I even joined the Xano team. So I imagine there's many, including myself, that fell in love with Xano because it allowed them to build really sophisticated backend logic without needing to touch any code. Now that we have this, AI generating a lot of the code behind the scenes, some might wonder what this means for them. How would you explain how this is going to improve their experience without making it more technical or difficult?
Yeah, that's a great question. And before I answer it, I just wanted to say hello to everyone. I see a lot of people, a lot of familiar names in the live chat, and just a thank you to our community for all of the support as we built this and got this out the door. This has been a labor of love, and it's just something that is so exciting that really has energized the entire team. So to your question, just kind of really moving from a purely no-code interface to something a little bit different. I think what we've always found is that people, as they start to get more familiar, whether that be with like Xano or any other tool, they want to move from like point and click to copy and paste. And that copy and paste really allows them to move at the speed that AI has only accelerated. And we debated this a lot internally, but we felt that the most expressive and efficient way of working with AI was to create a language that it understood. And we, consider TypeScript and other languages, but ultimately there's always kind of an interpretation an interpretation or translation layer that kind of distills down what you mean in terms of expressing things visually. So we wanted to create something that kept the code piece and the visual piece completely in sync and did more than just the business logic, but every part of your backend. And so the benefit there is if you want to just continue working in a no-code interface, you can do that. Nothing changes for you. However, you now have the ability to work alongside AI, and because it's smaller than minified JavaScript and human readable, AI does a very good job with it. Or we have that visual canvas that non-technical users, product managers, other people can come in and collaborate on what is being built. So, I think that this is the next evolution for visual development tools. It's a great accessible way to get people to understand what the AI produces, but with the coding piece, you can also work alongside developers or even develop yourself as more and more people are starting to work in their IDE of choice.
Love that. Love that. Yeah, I'm excited to not have to go to ChatGPT and say, "Hey, generate all this JavaScript," and then paste it into a Lambda and pray that it all works together. Now that we have ZanoScript, I think is really going to change the game on that. So, all right, let's see what questions we got here. When's this available? I mean, I think that's probably the top question right now. When can they get it, Prakash?
Yeah, so as of earlier this week, we started rolling it out to our user base. We want to make sure to do things kind of in this piecemeal way just to make sure things are stable because people are running really important things on Xano. So if you don't have it already when you log in, you should certainly have it by the end of the week. So just keep checking your account, refreshing, and then yeah, by the end of the week, everyone should have it.
Sweet. And then our next question from Jason. Nobody's asking, but how much does the upgrade cost?
Yeah, so the great news about all of this is ZanoScript, the ability to build with AI, that's just a part of the Xano building experience. So I'm very, very excited that Xano just has gotten a whole lot better. You're able to kind of build in this AI era the way you want to build with Xano. And I'm very excited for all of you to try it, including our free users. I'm very, very excited for them to try it and to see what it's like to build with the complete backend and the way they want to be building it.
That's the answer that people want to hear. Love it. And then we've got, can I build my software MVP with Xano 2.0?
Yes, absolutely. I think we have grown quite a big user base and following with people that are building their MVP. But unlike a lot of other tools, you're able to take that MVP and keep going with it, right? I think, have built a name on security, scalability, and reliability. And we will always want to make sure that we can pick up where you leave off on that MVP and make sure that you can continue to scale into production should you need to.
Yeah. And I think with like features we have now, I mean, vibe coding is obviously, taking off. It has a lot of concerns around the security and whatnot. And that's where we're addressing all of that to where you can take advantage of the speed there. But I feel like there is no better platform right now to get an MVP up and running now that we have so much AI assistance, obviously with all the protections going on. So definitely a good answer there. Next here we got, can the logic assistant evaluate an existing function stack and suggest improvements, or is it just for new ones created?
100%. So I think one of my favorite things about this launch is ZanoScript just is going to work out of the box. So no matter how complex of a backend that you've built already with ZanoScript, we have customers that have been with us for years with very comprehensive backends. They get the power of ZanoScript. So everything that we showed also is, I guess you could say, backwards compatible. So if there are pieces of business logic that they need explained, they can use that enhanced description button on the workflow builder. They can use the logic assistant to explain what's going on because ZanoScript is really the foundation that is powering everything. So yes, it can evaluate your function stack, it can suggest improvements, and that will only get better. And I think that's something I really want to share with everyone. This is an evolution. As we all are experimenting with AI capability, Xano has taken this big leap and given you all of this power, and it's with your feedback that we're going to make it better. So suggestions and improvements in terms of how to build it maybe more efficiently. We're going to be introducing ways to keep it more secure so it knows where there might be things where you're exposing sensitive information and ways to protect yourself against potential inefficiencies and insecurities within your business logic. So those are the types of things that we are going to be looking into and investing in.
And then next here from Pedro, is the Logic Assistant able to recreate? Is it able to create tables and endpoints? What are the limitations of Logic Assistant?
Yeah, so for right now, the logic assistant, we have several assistants within Xano. There's one that's specific for the database. There's one that's specific for your functions and your API builders. So you will use the assistant based on the modality that you're in. If you want it to create every single part, like your database, your APIs, etc., the best way to do that is in kind of an IDE outside of the Xano experience. That being said, that is something that we are working on. We first wanted to make sure that the assistants were performing really well. And then ultimately, we're working towards an agent that's going to orchestrate those assistants together in the best way possible. And we have plans on just making that better and better. In the meantime, you see the VS Code extension and what we were able to demonstrate today. There's the metadata API, which has gotten a lot more robust, and then the Xano MCP as well. And again, I cannot emphasize, it's not just your database tables and your logic, but we have things like your unit tests, your agents, your MCP servers. You can also programmatically build those. So this is super exciting.
Yeah, loved it. And then with Carlo here, I think we can kind of summarize this, his question. Obviously, with a lot of AI generation happening in the background, is this going to be like a usage-based type pricing? How does this all work with Xano's existing pricing?
Yeah, so not for right now. So for right now, the experimentation that we want to give you is that we want to remove the friction from you, for example, trying to build with AI agents. So we have a longstanding relationship with Google. We're going to give you credits, and we basically are very clear on some of those limits where you can just experiment without having to put in your own key. And then as you go and you hit the types of activity that require your own key, you can go ahead and swap it out very, very easily. In terms of any usage-based pricing or outcome-based pricing, that's not something that we're exploring right now. People seem to really like our fixed kind of instance price. So that's what it's going to be right now. But as our customers give us feedback and as their needs evolve, we will continue evolving in that regard as well.
So right now, if someone's using Function Assistant and they're kind of going back and forth on some iterations, they're not suddenly today going to hit some wall where it's like, sorry, you're out of luck.
Oh yeah, thank you for the clarification. No, so all the assistants within Xano, that's on us. You will not be paying for that.
Cool. The next question from Rob: do you guys plan to go all in on AI building going forward? While I like some of the AI options, the thing that keeps me with Xano is the ability to build complicated functions visually.
Yeah, so the visual component is basically in our DNA, right? Like, I think what separates us from all these other tools and backend and database providers out there is the ability to visualize your business logic. And we have always said how important that is because we're visual creatures. We understand by looking at pictures, and we want to make sure to be the best articulation of that. So the AI investments that we are making is really to help you build faster, better, more efficiently, and more securely. But the visual component is the core of really what we do. And we're only going to be investing to make that piece better as well.
Awesome. And then next year from Mike, are these new visual tools collaborative with an interface where a project manager, designer, dev can all work together?
Yeah, so already, currently, our function stack allows you to kind of see presence and you can see people working within individual functions. Also, if someone is working in a function, you can't edit it until they kind of give you permission. So we have that in the function stack view. We plan on looking at what that experience might look like in the visual canvas as well. It's not necessarily available today, but it is something that we're going to be thinking through.
Awesome. And then we've got next question here. Can I add my own domain to the web page front end? Yeah, with our new static hosting here. Tell us a little bit how that works.
Yeah, so with static hosting, we do support custom domains. So that's really exciting. And the static hosting piece is just, it's huge. I think what we have heard even from our larger customers is like, look, Xano has passed our security and compliance. We love it as the backend, but sometimes we want to leverage that same security and everything that has been passed on the front end as well, and just host a front end. And so I think this really enters us into the era of being a complete backend, the ability to host your front end. And so not only will you have that domain piece, we also make it really easy for you to sync from Git, build, and deploy your front end with different environments. So I'm really excited about this feature.
So that would be two separate domains then, right? Because we have a custom domain for your backend, like I have like API, .zano.com, but then I could also have zano.com for my front end files there.
Yep.
Very nice, very nice. And then here we've got, is the logic assistant doing the same thing as the extension, essentially? Clarify that a little bit.
Yeah, so there's, with the extension, there's a lot of documentation to support how it can write the best Xano script possible. We try to keep those things as up to date and in sync as possible. But, I think this is something that is going to continually evolve. But ideal case scenario is you're having the same experience as you would in these different tools. I think one thing to mention and note is that we have... we leverage Google internally. We leverage Gemini for our own assistant. So depending on what model you use, you might get different results. But if you look at our documentation in terms of getting the best possible results, we have recommendations around the model to use if you're, for example, leveraging Copilot inside your VS Code.
And it seems like, based off Cameron's demo there and what you were just saying, the logic assistant is focused on that function. That's its sole job, is to do everything in there, whereas the extension gives you the ability to hit all the aspects of Xano: table creation, API endpoints, all of that. The logic assistant currently today is limited to what's happening inside that function. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes, that's correct.
Cool. And then next question here, early adopter of Xano. Xano is always sort of my backend requirements, I believe. I keep jumping to find the best FE front end. If you have any questions, do you have any recommendations? How serious are your FE plans? I might have misinterpreted FE.
No, I think front end is probably what is being said. And hi, Vikran. Yes, there's a couple people in here that I know that have been with us for a while, so I always appreciate the support. I think what we have seen in the past year, especially, is an explosion of modalities and different ways to create your front end. I think it's pretty incredible how quickly you can generate something so expressive and unique on the front end side of things. So I think where we want to play, at least right now, is just deeply listening to our users and making sure that we can do what we do best, which is making sure we make the best backend possible. But a part of that was the ability to host the front end. And we have seen with our early insiders that they are leveraging, for example, VS Code extension to build everything, including their front end. So I think that's probably the answer for right now. I cannot see us getting into a visual or a no code front end anytime soon. I just don't think that that's our forte and where we really add the most value. Where we add the most value, our expertise, where we spend all of our time thinking, is to be the best possible backend for this agentic era we're moving into.
And it seems like Xano has always been a front-end agnostic platform. We're focused on building the absolute best backend possible. We can connect to any front end. We're really just expanding on that mission to say, now you can bring any front end to us, and that's just going to become more and more possible.
That's absolutely the right way to look at it. And I think the nature of the front end is changing. I think we've all seen, even with this chat GPT apps, how many of us now go to something like a chat GPT to get answers, and now you're going to be able to see experiences within there. So that's why we created that tutorial that Cam showed. If you haven't seen it yet, go on YouTube. We created a 10-minute or less tutorial on how to create and serve your ChatGPT app from Xano. But the nature of the front end is changing and how we're consuming it. So our goal is to, again, be the logic and backend layer that just serves whatever front end in whatever form it comes, especially moving into this new world, in the next 12 to 18 months. Whatever the front end looks like, we're going to be able to serve and power it.
Awesome. And then here we've got one. Can we use only Google Gemini?
I'm assuming that what you mean is in our assistance. So in our assistance right now, we especially in our self-serve plan, it's powered by Gemini. In custom plans, we have some customers, for example, that want to be disconnected and use their own internal models. That is 100% a possibility. In terms of your own building, if you're building your own AI-powered applications or agents, you're going to be able to use whatever model you choose. And so I hope that's clear.
Gotcha. Yeah, I know with the the agent one, I believe we have OpenAI, we have Claude available as well that you can select, and I imagine we're just going to continue to keep expanding support for more popular models there. So yeah, if you have a model that you're dying to have in there, like let us know in the community or support, and we definitely take all that feedback for our future releases. Any option or workflow to migrate from Supabase, or I guess any backend platform, really? I imagine there's a lot of similarities there. What would you say on there?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, Supabase has been incredible with a lot of the vibe coding tools just to get something up and working. But when you want to graduate, go to production, and visualize what your backend logic is doing, get outside of those edge functions, this is something that we're working on. So just stay tuned there, and more to come.
Sweet. All right. Well, here's a fun one. This might be our last question. I know we have a ton, but obviously we got to keep time restraints here, and we'll definitely be doing a lot of follow up over these next few weeks. But this one is: how do we get Xano gear, T-shirts, sweaters, anything? Do we have anything, Prakash?
That's a great question. I think it's been funny. Like I feel like we're kind of we've been late on the swag game for a long time, even just internally for us. But I do think that this is something that increasingly we want to make sure that we give to our community and give them access to, so they can support our brand, share our brand, and just feel like they can have some ownership over it. So let me do this. Let me talk internally with like the best way to go about this, and then I can send a note in the community. And that's another thing that I'll say. If you go to community.xano.com, that's where we're hanging out. That's where we post a lot of announcements. That's where you can ask more questions, and we would love to hear from you. I think like one of the important things here is that the AI world we are in right now, it's an evolution. It's not a one-time thing. And I think we will become better as a platform to serve you. The more feedback, the more comments, the more criticism, right, that we have. We want to hear it all, so we can, refine and sharpen the product over time. Another thing that I think is worth mentioning is if you get a chance today, use the product, come up with your questions and your feedback. Tomorrow, we're going to be live on Product Hunt talking about Xano 2.0. We would love your support. We would love you to share comments. You're going to be getting an email later from us today, but just wanted to kind of throw that out there.
Yeah, 100%. And before we sign off, I also just want to say big thanks to everybody who has joined today. We know you're all busy. There's a lot of stuff you could be doing, but the fact that you took a little time of your day to share this with us, and more importantly, the feedback and everything that we're going to be getting from everybody, a little pre-thanks there, because that feedback is going to be huge in making the next releases that much more powerful. So big thanks there. Like we said, Xano 2.0 is officially live on all accounts. If not, let our team know. There might be still some, rolling out, but you can jump in right now and start trying everything that we've shown. And like Prakash said, we just want to know what you think. We've got the community, we've got Product Hunt tomorrow, which we'll email. We have our support team if there are issues that you're running into. But we're just really excited to hear what you all think of the new features. And just thanks again for spending the time today and for being, along the journey with us. And we'll see you all in the community. Have a great one.
Thank you, everyone.